Everyone, this is JJ Humphrey. Hey, I'm about to lose my voice today, so y'all gonna have to hang with me today. I sound pretty raspy, but I have two of my favorite people in the whole wide world with me today. So we have Mandy Reed and we have Haley Luther. Hey guys, these are two champions. I mean, every time that I'm in a fight in Oklahoma, when it's referring to children or children's rights or anything like that, these are the people who are always there, always at the rallies, always at the court hearings, always helping us to go out and try to get signatures on grand juries and those kind of things. Now, both of them have awesome stories. Both of them have got in this, as advocates because of what their personal stories are. So we're going to get into that in just a second. But I thought we would start off because what we've got a brand new thing, breaking news that's coming out today. And what that is Daryl Doherty, that we talked about so much. I like to call him the $1 million man because they put a $1 million bond on him. Insane. It was crazy. They arrested him for trying to protect his own kid. So that's been a year ago. He has not seen his kid in a year. He had to spend time in jail. They tried to extort him to give up where his kid was. He wouldn't tell them. They found out that kid was in a shelter. So if he's in a domestic abuse shelter, they can't go in and get him. But they went in and kidnapped him out of that shelter. Now, Gittner Drummond's over that shelter, and he did absolutely 1,000% nothing. And then Gittner comes in and tries to kill a grand jury on all of this kind of stuff. So you kind of see why he wants to kill the grand jury, because his office is named in that grand jury. He didn't have authority to do it, but he's trying to kill it because he knows it looks bad on him. But I want to read this letter, get everybody to see. This is awesome news. It's some best news. So we got a new district attorney that won. So he was the district attorney elect, but they went ahead and appointed him, Jeremiah Gregory, district attorney. If y'all think about it, you can write his office and tell him what a great job he did. This is in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Payne County District Attorney's Office has filed a motion to dismiss all court cases, State of Oklahoma versus Daryl Doherty, CF 25-258. This case was filed under previous administration following statement for newly elected district attorney Jeremiah Gregory. And he says, it has historically been the unwritten policy of the district attorney's office under previous administration that family disputes are best handled in family court, not in the criminal justice system. Prior to my administration, most cases involving parent visitation schedule disputes, when presented to the district attorney's office, have been declined. I personally evaluated this case upon my assumption of the district attorney. While swift prosecutorial action absolutely must take place when a child has been endangered or abused by a parent, such was not the case in this instance with Mr. Doherty. Bearing extraordinary circumstances, matters of child custody and visitation are best handled in the civil system before assigned family court judges. Moreover, Oklahoma law and the Constitution of the United States mandates that criminal bonds or bail should primarily be set with consideration of the defendant's potential flight risk and safety to the public. Bond or bail in the criminal case should never be set as high as a punitive measure, as the defendants are automatically presumed innocent unless until proven guilty in a court of law. Bond should only be used to ensure public safety, holding a violent criminal in jail pending a trial to protect the public from further violence and to ensure the defendant's consistent appearance in court. As Payne County District's office transitions into new leadership under my administration, our office will continue to work to ensure the safety of the people's advocate for victims of crime, safeguard equal justice under the law, and all while assuring a new era of transparency and accountability to the public we serve. Is that not cool? We want to dismiss Daryl's entire case. Now, everybody been saying that I'm as crazy as a run over dog because I've been calling this out. Here's the deal. What this means is when we're saying that they falsely arrested him, guess what? They falsely arrested him. They use false pretenses. These people, and whether it be the police, and I want to say this: there is a lot of good officers out there, lots of good officers, but there's some bad officers too, and we need to call them out. And the good judges need to call out the bad judges. That's what the problem is. The good judges aren't calling this out. It's time they start to call this shit out. There ain't another word for it. So here's the deal. They falsely arrested. They put a punitive $1 million bond on him. Hey, people, they ain't nobody. Murderers ain't getting $1 million bond. Child molesters ain't getting $1 million bond. So why I've had y'all on here, why I wanted to do this is why I asked y'all to come on, is because a lot of people have just seen this going on at Payne County. They've seen the Butler case. They've seen the Etherton case, the DA assistant that got caught with all the child pornography and they didn't prosecute him for 4 years. They've seen the Seth Swain, that just keeps getting charge after charge, child molestation. They're doing nothing. Yep. So again, we've seen all that in Payne County, but people seem to think, well, hey, that's just Payne County. Payne County must be bad. Hey, this is going on across the entire state. So, Haley.
And JJ, one of the things that we should mention while we're talking about Daryl's case super fast is they arrested him for child stealing, but he filed the appropriate motions into the court with Judge Nikki Leach to say, hey, I want a show cause hearing to say why I want to protect my kid. He took all the appropriate measures in the correct avenue in order to stop this, and they still chose to take a different route and have him arrested. Mm-hmm. They gave him no other option. It was a complete, utter setup. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Here's the deal, even worse than that, Mandy. I personally went to the district judge and to the Supreme Court judge to say this kid has reported new abuse. You have a duty under the law. You have to have a hearing. And Daryl went in and notified him, I'm not taking the kid back to the abuser until we have a hearing. All that is by law. That's what he's supposed to do as a parent. And then they arrest him, and they knew it was a lie because they're the people who we were going and reporting all this to. So they knew it was a lie. They all intentionally lied. They got him falsely arrested.
Yep.
They set a punitive bond, and that punitive bond was to shut everybody up. That was to shut him up. That was to scare the public. That was to scare anybody.
Threatened to have his wife and his mother arrested.
Oh, absolutely. And again, that was threats in order to find out where the kid was, because nobody knew where the kid was. I don't even think Daryl knew where the kid was because they arrested Daryl. Then some people came and told them, you need to take your kid to a shelter because they'll have to investigate. You'll have to do this. They take the kid to shelter. The kid wanted to go to the shelter. He was given the choice. He went to the shelter. Nobody knew where he was. Police come down there. Some of the police that aren't so good come down there and threaten the stepmother and threaten to arrest her and her mother to force them to tell where he was. So it's unbelievable. That's all threats. That's all kidnapping, getting the kid out of there. They put the kid back with the abuser without a home. We have a letter from the shelter saying that this is not the way this is supposed to be done, that the kid presented himself, reported abuse, and here's what's supposed to happen. And again, that didn't happen. And again, Whitner Drummond is the actual person who is responsible for that. So again, did he do anything? And I know that he was notified because I notified him. And so it never happened. So Haley, tell us a little bit about your story. And your story takes place in what county?
My story takes place in Grady County.
Okay.
So what I'm going to talk about is a little bit like what you were talking with Kenneth Drummond. So we filed. So in July of 24, I had a DHS worker And he ended up doing an investigation and told me that my daughter made absolutely no disclosures during her forensic interview. Fast forward to August, she took my daughter into custody, ended up testifying for my ex to get custody of her. I ended up seeing that forensic interview and found out that my daughter did make several disclosures. As a 3-year-old, those disclosures should hold water. So I ended up pressing charges, or like trying to press charges on her. I went to Grady County Sheriff's Office and I filed perjury charges on her. It's been, and this is that right here. It's been under investigation with Grady County. The person that was doing it, he was a really good worker. Like you said, there's some good cops out there. There's some bad cops out there. Fortunately, I got a really good one. And he did an investigation. He contacted Mary Abbott's house, who said that there was a full investigation warranted for her disclosures. They still stand by their outcome of the report. He watched the forensic interview himself, and he heard the disclosures, and he said that there was significant disclosures made, especially for her age. Especially one that stuck out most to him was that my daughter hid underneath the table and asked God to save her. And he said that one stuck out the most to him.
So let me stop Haley for just a second, JJ. So what we have is FBI's been in her case. OSBI's dabbled into her case. This perpetrator has law enforcement in Cleveland County Sheriff's Office, law enforcement in Norman PD. He lives in Cleveland County. 2 sisters that are Oklahoma DHS workers. His mother has significant ties to Oklahoma DHS. She likes to spout off that she is a CASA. And so when you have a tangled web like this, it just gets so convoluted that nobody believes it. Now, when Haley's telling you that this affidavit that she saw, we did a deep forensic audit of her case.
Mm-hmm.
And what we found was her prior attorney gave her the affidavit and the records that DHS held. And in that forensic audit, when we looked at it, we were able to tell the worker, Chloe Walker, had said, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this was the date. And so as we're looking at Haley's case, I'm like, Haley, go back and let's look at all these dates. She said on April the 4th of 2022 that OU Children's, and JJ, we already have issues there.
Yep.
We got, our red flags are going off.
I got a new case on that.
The mother went to OU Children's, and they said, she's psychologically damaging her child. Haley has the records for OU Children. She was never there on April 4th. That's a complete and total lie.
My doctor's appointment was in March of that year, and it was only for labial adhesions. It was to get knowledge over labial adhesions because my daughter had labial adhesions.
So when we're looking at this is what this affidavit that Chloe Walker wrote out is what took possession of that little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Only that affidavit. You can in order to change custody like that, you have to have an affidavit of imminent harm. So when we look at that, that's all it took her. So this law enforcement officer tells Haley that, hey, I've looked at everything and I understand FBI has been in the case. I understand OSBI and all these other law enforcement officers, but because of this affidavit, it shouldn't be where it was at today because it's all a lie.
And he's also said that, he also said that it doesn't matter what OSBI found or FBI or all of them because this is its own investigation.
Yeah. Right.
it shouldn't matter about any of these.
But here's the thing. Here's what this is what you got to get out of what we're talking about. If you're investigating a case, the first thing you do is you go to the origin of the case. Where did the case begin? What started this case? So if you're going to investigate, the first thing you're going to do is go look at the DHS, report, and again, that's why the kid was taken. So that's where you're going to start. You're going to start with the original report. What were the allegations? And then you're going to move forward, seeing if you can either prove or disprove those allegations. And again, doesn't matter whether the FBI or the OSBI, but the question you have to start asking yourself, if this officer is able to look at that report, he's able to go look at the forensic, and what, guys, why we use the word forensic interview is because I'm trained, I really am trained in a lot of interviewing techniques. I have been to numerous classes on interviewing, okay? I have my own unique style, but what I'm not trained in is what we call forensic, and that is not leading the witnesses. So when you're interviewing a 3-year-old kid, it is very difficult to interview a 3-year-old kid without trying to lead them, to ask them questions that would lead them. So there are people who are trained in that. Now, this Abbott House that they mentioned is trained in that. Although I will tell you, man, I have gotten a lot of stuff from the Abbott House where it's 1,000% wrong, and a lot of problems from that forensic place where they do forensic interviews. So I don't have a lot of confidence in the Abbott House. So number one right up there, I'll throw that out at first.
Well, you should look at the new director on that, and then that could be a whole nother topic. So the new director of Mary Abbott House is Kylie Turner. If you go back through her history, JJ, you'll find that she's on the Radio at Giglio.
Mm-hmm.
Really hold it. So, guys, what she's talking about right there is when you withhold evidence. So here's the deal. A lot of times what will happen, prosecutors, investigators or such, DA's office a lot of times will have evidence that they know is pertinent to a case, and they are required by law to hand that out and give it to the defendants, and so again, they don't quite often. So you got what they call Brady, which is also that quite often they get caught violating Giglio or Brady, and then guess what the consequences is?
They get put on a list.
Yeah, well, if they get put on the list, they only get put on the list if there's somebody there taking note and putting them on the list. Mm-hmm. Most people don't moved around the list, so they never get put on nothing, and they say, "Don't do that in me." They don't care. They do it all the time. They get caught and they just do it again because there is no consequence for doing it. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Same thing with ex parte communication. So I don't know how many times. I put a video out on this the other day. Gittner's caught on video killing the grand jury, bragging about having a conversation ex parte with the judge. He's also, we got him on email having a conversation with the appellate judge over a death penalty case. Illegal again. They ought to be disbarred, judge removed, everything, having ex parte communications on a dadgum death penalty case. So again, there's no consequences for these people who are top law enforcement, who are supposed to be the ones enforcing the rules. They're the ones breaking the rules, massive breakers of the law. And again, then when we try to hold them accountable, guess what they do? They kill the grand juries, they kill the investigations, because guess what? The investigations lead back to who? It leads back to them. So that's where we are in Oklahoma, the way you can't get anything done in these cases. You got something from what happened to you with getting her drunk?
So that officer I was telling you about, he ended up sending it to the PA.
Since he's done such a good job, let's name him.
Okay. His name is Balin Gornick. I'm just going to call him Officer Gornick because I don't know if I'm saying his first name right. So, Officer Gornick, he did his job. He forced the Grady County District Attorney to take this case. Like, he forced them to do it. And then they supposedly, on that same day, Officer Gornick also sent it to the Attorney General. And he called me. He gave me an update. He's like, hey, I went ahead and I forced the district attorney to take it. I also sent it to the Attorney General.
Now, JJ, your favorite district attorney, one of your favorites happens to be this guy, old Jason Hicks.
Yeah, Mr. Jason Hicks. Yeah. He loves me too, guys.
I'm his favorite person. We like to sue Mr. Hicks a little bit.
Anyways, this is the email thread right here. And so I emailed after, weeks of not hearing anything. I emailed Gettner Drummond. I also emailed Officer Gornick and the district attorney's office as well. Nobody responded to me other than Gettner Drummond. And these are his words. He said, this matter has not been referred to this office from Grady County. It remains under the purview of the Grady County District Attorney. And Officer Gornick responds to Gettner Drummond, and he said, no. I emailed this to you, and it's so small, on May 26th at around 2 o'clock. And I guess he felt like he was in a corner because he never responded. So we got in touch with the district attorney's office, and they said, oh, well, we don't have it here either. So where is the case? Who's investigating it?
And that's the problem, is that when you can't get a hold of anybody, and this is what they do, they slow walk
chase your tail.
Yeah, they slow walk you, and you're over here, you go over here, it's not this one, it's that one, it's that one. And, we got into that one time on Daryl's case. You had one judge that they said, well, he's got the case. This judge said, he's got the case. That judge said, no, he's got the case. We're standing in front of this judge, and that judge is going, well, the case is over there. And it's like, Your Honor, listen, we're tired of this. You say that, he says this, get on the phone or write him and say, it's time you two have a conversation. Because we're tired of running back and forth and getting nowhere, and both y'all saying the same thing.
Right.
So he says, I would do it. I would contact him. Guess what? He lied. Never happened.
Yep. So I guess that the Gettner Drummond. So I called and I spoke with Officer Gornick last week, and he said that the district attorney is the ones that are taking this case, and they're going to investigate this case, and that Gettner Drummond absolutely refused to take this case. He did not want it. He didn't want to touch it with the 10-foot pole. And you know why? It's because it involves Oklahoma DHS. It involves a woman who absolutely ruined a child's childhood. And she needs to take accountability for it. She lied in an affidavit.
Not only did she ruin this, but she... Mm-hmm. So let me take you back through when we're doing the forensic thing of Haley's case, JJ. Her daughter was taken in August. If you look at the timeline of that, in May of that year, him and his mom had reached out to DHS. And this is in the records. We could show you absolutely all of it. We're reading the records, and it says the dad can't no longer afford to go to court, and they wish that DHS could do something. Mm-hmm. That's what it says in the records. Then,
it wasn't May.
It
was
what
June.
Month was it?
June. May, he was arrested for contraband.
Okay. No, but there was another date in there. And it was before that. So I know what it was, JJ. In May, DHS had filed to put a lien against him for back child support.
Mm-hmm.
Then he gets arrested for contraband at Lark, and then they don't prosecute him. They drop it, and they say in court that they had video footage of Haley putting the drugs on his car, but they couldn't provide the video footage. It was just hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're looking at the timeline of DHS puts a lien against him. Then he gets arrested for drugs and contraband at the court at Lark, and then following June, another referral comes in for SA. And then you see in the records where everybody's asking the DHS workers, Daddy can't afford to go back to court. What can DHS do to help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you've got this referral that comes in July, and they take this little girl and do a forensic interview. Well, the little girl is 3.5 years old, JJ. For a week, she was with the perpetrators. A week.
Mm-hmm.
Haley had no contact with her daughter. None.
I wasn't even allowed to speak to her at the Mary Abbott house when I seen her.
So she has no contact. A 3-year-old is not going to retain anything, zero of what anybody tells her after a week with the perpetrators. She proceeds to tell them, I'm a certified forensic interview. I've seen the forensic interview. She proceeds to tell them who perpetrated on them, what color their hair was, what they were wearing, what she was wearing, where they touched her, and what color crayon stuck in what orifice. It was very detailed for a 3.5-year-old. Mary Abbott's house actually said, we believe the child, all children in the home should be protected thoroughly from both of these perpetrators.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she also identified where they were at.
And, yeah. So from a perspective of mine, 2% of children lie. This 3.5-year-old didn't lie. There's no way. That was recalled from memory.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to August, the another referral comes in while this other one's still open, and Chloe Walker shows up at Haley's house and says, I need to pick up the kid. I've already talked to the judge. I have verbal orders to pick her up. Now, we all know, without papers in your hand, do not be handing over your kids. But Haley and them were complying because they had no idea what was going on. So they just show up out of the blue and say, we have to take her. And they're like, okay, we don't know what's going on. And then on Monday, after they take her, they get the court order.
You know what that's
2
called?
days later.
You know what that's called?
What?
Child stealing, kidnapping. It doesn't matter that it's a DHS worker.
Exactly.
If they don't have court orders to take your kid. Now, if they had a verbal order, you know, can they prove that the judge back them up? Without proof of that, guess what? I will tell you this. I've had the judge tell me, do not leave this courtroom. Do not leave. I will be right back with the orders. You know? And then I went out immediately and served them. But I've never.
She said that she called the judge over the phone and got a verbal order from Judge Young.
I've never done that. I worked hand in hand with Judge. I arrested people all the time. Yeah. We did searches all the time.
She said that the reason she didn't have any paperwork with her, when I asked her for a warrant, she held up a manila envelope and said, it's in here. She refused to show me she refused to show me any paperwork other than the manila envelope. And she said that she got verbal authorization from Judge Young to take the child into whatever. I said, okay, then where's the court order? And she was like, it's after hours. We're able to get verbal authorization after hours. I was like, when you showed up to my house, it was 4:30, which means that you got verbal authorization at around 3:30. That's when the court's open. The judge isn't going to take your call at 4:30. And I can roll back that footage for you. So, like, I don't know.
So through all that, JJ, her mother did a grand jury investigation, requested it, and we hustled to get signatures. Judge Meter, wasn't it Judge Meter that dismissed it, Haley?
Yes. Oh, but we did forget something in the timeline. And I don't know if I told you this or not because I just learned about this. But his sister started working for DHS in August of 2024 when my daughter was taken.
Yeah, that's always
he had two sisters.
Yeah, the second one.
Right.
She started working for DHS at the same time that Gracie was taken. Or sorry, my daughter.
So anyway,
no, but I find it interesting. Here, let me tell the audience why when you talk about a Grady County grand jury that I set up, and I go, hey, boom. All right, here's the deal. I have a $50,000 sanction filed on me by Judicial Complaints Charles McCall and Kyle Hilbert. So the former speaker, the current speaker, and Judicial Complaints, who are supposed to be the group that watches over judges, who by state statute, what created them, they can't be involved in any of this, but they are involved in it, and they're sanctioning me for doing my, First Amendment right grand jury, along with all 16 others, and somehow I'm the only one picked out to file a $50,000 sanction. But one of the things they say is that I was over this, that I'm responsible for the Grady County grand jury, and that y'all filed appeals 2 or 3 times, and that I did all of that. And y'all were, the way they list that, y'all are my followers. Y'all are my followers, and so y'all acting under my authority. And so they say I filed 9 grand juries. My name, and again, I know about the grand jury in Grady County, but I didn't join y'all. I didn't go take signatures. I didn't sign anything. I didn't do anything. So they're absolutely 100% bald-faced liars. But I am interested in the grand jury, and I'm interested why he denied the grand jury, because the judge is supposed to help. That's what we have a First Amendment right to petition for a grand jury. A judge's job is not to kill the grand jury. The judge's job is to facilitate the grand jury and to assist. And so why did he kill it?
Who?
He said he killed it on a technicality because on the back of the form there was a technicality on there, and so he just killed it. Instead of allowing, we had requested time to alter the document, asked leave of the court to alter the document, and instead he just dismissed it and disregarded our request for a leave.
So first of all, you got 4 days. So you turn in your petition. They have 4 days to respond. They can come back and say it's insufficient, but they have to tell you why it's insufficient. And then you have 2 days to correct those insufficiencies and turn it back in. Of course, the things they're calling insufficient are nowhere in the matter of what should be considered. And again, they're coming back and saying things like, well, you can't investigate a judge. Well, you can't investigate a DA. Well, you can't investigate somebody from governor. Well, guess what? That's a total lie, because guess why? The grand jury, go back and study what a grand jury is. It's for holding the judicial and your government accountable. That's why the founding father put it in there. It's when our judicial system is no longer working, the people, because we the people are the government of the United States. We the people. That judge answers to you and me, not us answer to him. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's what a grand jury is all about. The petition, you get the petition, you get the signatures. Now they willy-nilly, and they've done a lot of work and a lot of false work, and they go against the Constitution to try to say, oh, it's going to require 5 times more than what it actually requires. And so again, what you're seeing is Grady County be denied on signatures, Wagner County being denied. They're trying to do this in Payne County. I think we're fixing to whip their butt down there, but we'll have to see. Because again, if they ask us to come in and argue over, if they want to have a discussion over the Constitution and how you actually count these signatures, we're ready to go. And what's funny, if you watch that video I put out of Getting Her Drummond, when the guy asked him, well, explain because he said they just get it wrong. They got it wrong. Well, how? Well, they just got the numbers wrong. Well, what do you mean? Well, they got the wrong data. Well, we got the data from the election secretary. It's certified. It wasn't the wrong data. What he's trying to say, and here's what's happened. He's had one of his flunkies go in and figure this all out. He didn't even take time to read it. Then he calls the judge ex parte, tells the judge, hey, you didn't know what you was doing. You got to reverse this, and that's what happened. And now he can't even explain what it is or how it is, and he looks terrible. And we got him on video. It's not maybe, we have him on video, and we're going to put even more out to show that. So I figure he did about the same thing there in Grady County, most likely, didn't he? How many times have y'all went in on Grady County?
The Grady County petition.
Yeah.
We've filed
we've only filed one, and then we've appealed it now with the dismissal, so we're waiting on that. But I think now is prime time as ever to file another one in Grady County with Haley having the evidence. And before when Haley and Nikki, when Nikki did, it was not Haley. When Nikki filed the grand jury petition, she went down to the GOP and said, hey, I'm going to put Jason Hicks on it. He openly came up to them and was like, oh, I'll help you. I'll do this. I'll do that. Da, da, da. Don't put my name on it. So they took him at his word. He told them that he would help them.
Then
it's crickets.
Yeah, he also said straight to my face and straight to my mom's face that at any point in time he could ask for a grand jury petition at any point in time. He didn't need all kinds of things. He just needed himself.
Yeah, he can ask for it. And again, they can put him for multi-county. That's what's so funny. One of our next videos on getting her drumming, we're going to have so much fun with that because he's such a liar. I mean, he's just a flat ass out liar. The deal is he gets up there and says, oh, I wish Payne County could have a grand jury. I wish y'all could have a grand jury. Y'all really need it. The citizens need it. He's killed not one, but two multi-county grand juries that was ordered by the AG previous to him. He's killed it. He's been asked to investigate. We had a DA in Pottawatomie County write a letter. 5 of us legislators wrote letters of support to say, do it. He refused to do it. So he's killed 2. He refused to do that one. Now he's killed this one illegally. And guess what? He's going to set up there. Oh, I wish y'all could. And all the time, he could call for one right now, today, and do a multi-county grand jury himself, and he won't do it. So he's, you know what I'm saying? And it just galls me to hear him go out and say this kind of stuff when I know good and well, most people don't know that he could order it right now, save all this signature, all this work. Now, what we're talking about is kids being taken out of their home illegally. We're talking about kids being molested. We're talking about rape cases where the DA is covering up rape cases, child molestation cases, porno video, child porno video. Again, these are things, kids being kidnapped out of shelters, all of this being done by high officials, and Getner Drummond will not even file a multi-county grand jury to look it up. How hard is that? Let's just investigate it and see if it's true. If it's not true, what he lost. But guess what? He won't do it. And in fact, not only will he not do it, that's bad enough. He won't do it, but he goes out of his way to commit crimes to kill it and stop it. So that's what people need to know. This guy is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. It just galls me to hear him speak because, again, you just need to go check out. And I'd encourage people that's listening to me, go watch the Drummond Files. Pull up my Facebook, Justin J.J. Humphrey. We're having so much. I'm laughing. We're doing these. We're having a lot of fun with these files. But what we're doing is we're showing you the documents that 1,000% prove that, that this is going on. That 1,000. One of the things we helped up this week when he filed to kill that grand jury was it says the Attorney General control, judicial control. So it says, I'm taking control. If you watch the video, well, why did you kill in the grand jury? They just got it wrong. So what he's saying, the they that just got it wrong was the judge got it wrong. He's saying, I know more than the judge, and I am going to take authority. Well, guess what? He can't override a judge. He's in the executive branch. He can't step over and take over the judicial branch. He's in a different branch. He can't rule that. If you went and looked at his opinion, that he says in 25, he gives an opinion policies on how his office should operate. These are the opinions on his office giving advice, okay? And he says that he can only act in an advisory capacity to a competent judicial, okay? Now, that's what he said in 25. He can only act in an advisory. But then you go over here and look at the order, Attorney General, controlling authority. So which one is it? Can he only act as an advisor, or is he in control? And again, and I can go show you all day long all the things that he named that gave him control. Read the statute in entirety. Absolutely lie. That's fraud on the court. He's committing fraud on the court because he's saying this is a statute that gives me controlling authority. And all either of those statutes do is say that he can appoint, or it says that he can't even do. So one of them, one part of the rules, and he even names a rule that ain't there. And if you had to go pull and study those rules, you ought to know whether a rule's there. He falsely claimed there was a rule there that wasn't there. The rules he named either says that's not true, or it says right the opposite, that he can't do it. And he went ahead and did it anyways, and that's fraud. He has committed fraud on the court, and it is time that I'll guarantee you, I'm going to keep hammering him until this gubernatorial runoff occurs, because we sure don't need him. We don't need him. Well, Mandy, hey, what on your case? So your case, we talked about Haley's case quite a bit, but it's not really your case. It is your husband's case, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
But it's your case too, because you've been as active in it as any, or he has. He has
Right.
been very active, but you have. I mean, this really has changed both of y'all's lives, and this
Absolutely.
really become. I mean, and guys, what happens when you really get involved in this and you're thrust into this? You really don't have choice in the matter. You're there. It changes your life. Because guess what? You either got to fight back, or you just lose your kid. And you lose to. So do you keep fighting? And then what happens when anybody sees that you have the ability to fight? Because not everybody has the ability. Not everybody has the financial ability. Not everybody has the ability to read this stuff and go to court themselves. Because you will quickly run out of money if you're trying to hire a lawyer. Yep. So you begin to do this yourself. And again, there's not that many people, one, that have the money, the finances, the ability, and again, the what am I looking for? Just the tenacity, because they wear you out. They come after you with everything, threats. They have other attorney groups threaten you. They threaten you with sanctions. They threaten you with your livelihood, your jobs, everything. They try to ruin your life. And don't just try, quite often they do ruin your life. So tell us a little bit about your case.
So we're kind of at the crossroads. When I first met Sean, it's kind of the same thing with Haley. Is there was so much DHS stuff that just went wrong. I'm going to have to argue with you, JJ. I don't know if you ought to change the Department of Corrections to the Department of Corruption. I think we needed to go back and change DHS to that. The Department of Corruption, they need to be the Department of Corruption.
I'm with my brother Preto. We just burn it down and start over. Honestly, we need to make it a new. You know what I'm saying? We need the DHS. We need people doing that. I advocate.
We need them to go back to social services, JJ. Whenever a call comes in to the hotline and somebody makes a referral, if it is for child neglect or child abuse in any form, that is a crime by statute. By
Yeah, you should go to
Oklahoma
sheriff.
statute, exactly.
Yeah.
What we need to do is we need to have a law enforcement officer to investigate the crime.
Well,
We
here's
do
what I'm
not need
advocating.
somebody like Michael Case in Cleveland County who has a degree in evangelistic ministry investigating crimes against children.
I got one better. Chloe Walker has a degree in marketing because she knows how to sell
what
children.
I'm advocating, this is what I want to do, is I want to see them take APS, that's Adult Protective Services, and CPS, Child Protective Services, out completely, out from under DHS, return them back. So take that money that we're using for that, move it back out to the county, put it under the sheriff's office, let the sheriff's office hire CPS workers, APS workers, train them, and then when all those calls come in, they come into the county, they go out and investigate them, and then if there's services after the investigation where we need placement, where we, and even at that, I'm for looking at Missouri and looking how Missouri is doing theirs. They got a really, or last time I dealt with Missouri, they had a really good placement, home placement, you know what I'm saying? And again, the goal is reunification. The goal is to get the child back in the home unless it's so bad they can't. But Oklahoma's #1 state for taking kids. We had Rosa on here last week, I think. We had him on, and he's reporting. That's the guy with the father's rights, and so he was reporting that not only is Oklahoma #1, one of the top in getting the money, but he was showing where the money's going and how that the feds are actually funding through multiple ways the court and DHS for taking and stealing our kids here in Oklahoma. It's got to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, just Haley's case is a good example. Sean's case is a good example. Whenever I started looking into Sean's case, and I was like, I don't understand. You know, this was 8 years ago. I don't understand how DHS is getting it wrong. This little girl's crying out for help. Please help me. She's telling everybody else, and they're just sweeping it under the rug. What's going on? So I started looking at that. You've got private law firms who are taking jobs as assistant district attorneys and taking an additional third job as DHS attorneys doing child support. And so they have access to all those systems in their private law firm. So then they can see what's going on. Whenever we subpoenaed the DHS records, the light bulb didn't go off in my head because I didn't know enough then. Her attorney walked them over to our attorney, Sean's attorney's office, and said, here's the DHS records. That's not how that's supposed to go. Those are sealed. They're supposed to go to the judge only. But he had walked them over because he had them. Mm-hmm. Now, it's my opinion, you know, it appears that he printed those as an employee of a state agency. I don't know that for a fact, but I can tell you when I went through the records and read them, there were several missing. So it appears that he took out what he didn't want the judge to see.
Well, maybe you'd say we can't do it as a fact, but if we was to back up during the same period of time you're talking about, 8 years or so ago, that you had a grand jury that was actually approved and completed there in Pottawatomie County, Lincoln, Pottawatomie, if I'm not mistaken. Indictments were handed down, indictments on the district attorney, Alan something, I can't remember what Grubb, okay. And again, these types of allegations, people in the, you know, DHS working for the DA, their son having a medical, or one of them has a medical, one of them has a law degree, and they're all doing all of these things. I think if I remember that case correctly, and I've kind of went back and looked at that, and guess what? They handed down indictments. They sent that over to get it out of that county to be prosecuted, which is the right thing. But they sent it over to the neighboring county, Cleveland County, which is where Abbott House is also located. You gotta put all the marbles in saying all the pieces of the puzzle. It goes over to Cleveland County, and again, I'm trying to think of Mashburn's. Greg Mashburn was the DA, and he refused. If I remember, we're going back 8 years, and I always like to say, if I remember, if I'm correct, I want to make sure I say that. He refused to prosecute. So they hand down this grand jury, very important process. Hands down, they think that there's absolutely crimes. They hand it off to Cleveland County, and Cleveland County protects one of their own, protects the fraternity. We're not going after one of our own. We're going to let this thing die. Now, guess who is your OSBI director today? Mr. Mashburn. So again, that's why when you're talking about, well, let's get OSBI investigation, I'm like, let's not. Let's get somebody else to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, and I mean, Greg's a nice enough guy. I'm not hating on Greg. I'm just saying the facts of what I know to be true. And again, when you see this time and time and time again, guess what? These people are corrupt. It looks like it. We should have an investigation into all of these matters.
Yep. And that's, that's kind of where Sean's case is. His attorney or her attorney there was two parts of them. One of them was bold enough to actually sign the DHS child support documents. Her personal attorney signed the documents as a DHS attorney. That's how bold they are. We've got it all in writing. You just can't make this up.
Right.
So, but the other part of that is based on income. Sean didn't hand over his income. They made up his numbers, which left him at $900 a month child support, which on fraudulent numbers. Okay, then we go in before Judge Duell, and Judge Duell says they couldn't get the deal done in 21, and the law says you can't retroactivate child support. Okay, it's a done deal. She didn't modify the order. There was no child support order. We go in before Judge Duell, and her attorney goes, "Oh, Your Honor, we missed this, and gosh, I mean, he should have been paying child support, but we didn't appeal it, and they didn't appeal it, but she deserves it." So, and the judge's like, "Yeah, she deserves it." Slaps the gavel. "Okay, you're back. You owe back child support $45,000. And our attorney stood up and said, "Your Honor, you can't do that. It's against the law." "Yeah, I can. She deserves it, and I feel like she should get it. So that's what we're going to do." So then we spend $10,000 to go get an appellate attorney, pay all the fees to do an appeal. And when we ask for the transcripts in Pottawatomie County, all there is birds chirping. There's absolutely no transcripts to fight that, to prove that our attorney argued it. And here, one of the other things is you got Title 4D and Title 4E federal money that matches that child support, which is what Rosa was telling you last week.
Right. And that's what people got to understand. It's federal money.
They're incentivized. Yeah, they're incentivized to make up fraudulent numbers on Sean's case because the state of Oklahoma gets matching federal funds.
Right. And when you look at that spread out against all the cases, okay, well, 12,000 may not be a whole lot of money. Well, it is when you multiply that times all the cases that they're doing across the state. And again, then that's not all the money, because guess what? Now we're going to call in, and that's what me and him were talking about. You call in the psychological analysis. Well, hey, that's 20,000. You call in the counselors. Hey, that's $1,000 a pop, all the time. We got to get
$50 an hour for supervisors.
Supervised visits, $50 an hour, and we're one of the few that even do that. So again, and there is no.
Yeah, you know what I charge, JJ? I do supervised visits. You know what I charge? Whatever they can pay me. I did it for a lady that was selling blood plasma. I did it for $12 an hour.
Do you ever take like a barter, like a goat or a, you know,
Hey, I might take a goat because these parents need to see their kids.
I
It
laughed.
means a lot to these children.
I had no boy that I had on supervision long time, and he couldn't pay. He always had horses and mules. He's kind of a trader if he didn't steal them, you know what I mean? But anyway, so he called me up one time. He goes, "Hey, I don't think I can ever pay you." He said, "I got a little mule you might be interested." I said, "Write it down Main Street and let me look and see." He wrote it down there. He slid off of it. He come in. I said, "Throw in the saddle and we got a deal." And so I got me a mule and a saddle out of the deal. So yeah, I hear you. I work pretty cheap a lot of times. In fact, I had a deal.
Yeah, it's important to these families.
Well, I had a deal when I was probation officer that if you'd go to college and maintain the C average, I wouldn't even charge you. If you'd go to college or trade school, whichever one, if you would better yourself and go and make reasonable, passing grades, I wouldn't even charge you. I couldn't waive the court costs, but I would waive the cost of my office, what we were charging. And you wouldn't believe how many. I've actually had one girl when got her master's on that deal. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. Well, guys, we are right at the end. Hey, I appreciate you. If I don't tell y'all, I love both of you. I mean, y'all are awesome. You're always in the fight. You haven't backed up. I know that they've come after both of you pretty hard. They've come after me. They've come after Daryl. Guys, hey, for our listeners, listen, these are nasty people. If you think not all of our judges are bad, we have great judges in the state. I can name a bunch of them. Our law enforcement got really great. My son's a law enforcement officer. I'm still a reserve. There's great law enforcement people, but there are corrupt ones, and I want to call on those good ones. It's time y'all stand up. It's time you start calling them out. Hey, you people up there in the House and in the Senate, it's time for you to stand up and start calling your leadership out, who is not only allowing this, they are involved in it, and they're going after the people who are trying to stop it. So I want to encourage everybody. Here's two ladies who have the guts to stand up, and it's time that we need a whole state of people like them to stand up and let's fight this system and take back Oklahoma, take back our court system, and protect the rights of children. Children's rights, what we're all about. Hey, y'all have a good day. I appreciate both of you coming on here.
Thank you, JJ.
Thank you.